What's goody, everyone? Well, since we talked about some of my favorite missions in the Simpsons Hit and Run in the first top 10 on this channel, I think it's only right that before we close the book on this game entirely, to talk about one of the most integral parts of the gameplay as a whole, that would be the vehicles. Whether it be a car, truck, bike, or whatever you want to call that, the vehicles in the Simpsons Hit and Run can kick some serious ass. In my opinion, I think the game's developers really put in that work to bring a lot of these classic Simpsons cars to life in 3D. Also, you're probably going to be spending most of your time in the game in one of these things, so after a while, you're gonna pick your favorites. And I certainly have mine. So, why don't we count down my favorites here today? And fair warning, these are my favorites. That doesn't necessarily mean the best cars. I know there's an in-game ranking system that you can see when selecting cars in multiplayer, but I won't be judging solely on which car performs the best. I'm also factoring in its usefulness at the time you acquire it, as well as my overall fondness of the vehicle, which is mainly influenced by fond memories of playing the game over the years. And yes, bonus vehicles are also under consideration. And with all that said, here are my top 10 favorite vehicles in the Simpsons Hit and Run. Number 10. Mr. Burns Limo. A lot of my favorite vehicles in this game combine speed and toughness very well to make an overall fun car to drive. This vehicle is one you see very early on in the first level. It appears in the mission Office Space, where you need to destroy it. This mission gives you an idea of how tough it really is. Then, in the mission The Fat and the Furious, at the end of level 1, you must race it through the entire map and you truly get a sense of how fast it is as well. After this, you won't even see this vehicle for pretty much the entire rest of the game, but you know at some point you'll get the chance to obtain it yourself. Finally, when you get to level 7, you can go to the Quickie Mart and you'll see Mr. Smithers there waiting for you as this level's bonus mission. After a pretty entertaining and challenging bonus mission, you get to finally take this car for a spin, and it totally exceeds expectations. Not only does it live up to its speed and toughness, but its handling is superb. It easily can do any job you want it to, making it valuable for most missions. You also get Smithers as your driver when using it in some levels, which you don't get in this game at all up to this point, so it's even more of a reward added on top of that.
Okay, I'll help, but don't tell Mr. Burns.
The only negative I can say about this vehicle is that by the time you get the vehicle in the story, you're basically forced into using other vehicles for most of the remaining missions. Still, it's a fun vehicle to use on replay after beating the game and to finish up some street races, and it is one of the best, most well-rounded cars that you can get in this entire game.
Oh, the phone just made my souffle fall. Well, I guess I'll be along shortly.
Number 9. Malibu Stacy car. This is the vehicle you start with in level 3, appropriately as Lisa's primary car. It's essentially a toy doll car brought to life. It's got that classic plastic finish and no roof. It's the first normal car in the game that I feel gives you a true sense of real speed. Sure, it becomes outclassed later on and feels way slower as you get further in the game, but when you get it in level 3, it's really hard to want to switch out compared to other cars. Plus, just getting in the car and driving around with Lisa in level 3, listening to that dope saxophone is such a vibe. It's something I've loved since I got to level 3 for the first time, so it's a real sentimental favorite for me.
Watch where you're going!
Sorry, Lisa, but can you blame me? Hearing that music, seeing that sunset in my cool fancy car, it's a wonderful experience without even playing the missions. I could do it all day, which is why I love the Malibu Stacy car enough for it to make my list.
Finally, a chance to live the Malibu Stacy lifestyle.
Number 8. Speed Rocket. Now this might be a controversial opinion, but I have so many fond memories of using the Speed Rocket, I had to include it on the list. It's the only secret car I have on here, so let's talk about it. Look, I'm not going to say this is the best vehicle, far from it, but it's really fun to use in short bursts around the level. It's super fast, and is quite literally rocket powered. When I first played the game as a kid, I would love just finding and using it on all the ramps I could find. Unfortunately, it would pretty much end up being totaled right away because this car is very, very weak. You can't really use it for any missions, not even for street races, and believe me, I've tried. I never really used the other secret cars as much, not for any particular reason, but I really only have a soft spot for this one. It's just a batshit wild and insane vehicle to even put in this game, and I love it for it. Nothing serious, just mindless fun.
Boomer go boom!
Number 7. Hover car. The hover car is another vehicle you get from a bonus mission, specifically from Professor Frink in level 5. In order to successfully acquire this car, you have to destroy it because it's gone out of control.
For the love of all that's gliding, you gotta help me here.
Now you get your first hint of its existence in level 4, where instead of racing against the next character's starting vehicle, it's just a one-on-one race against the hover car. And it's honestly one of the tougher street races in the game, especially because up to that point you legitimately don't have access to a car as fast as it yet. However, seeing it in action several times before you get to use it yourself builds up that internal hype, similarly to Mr. Burns' limo. Then when you finally do get to control it, it's hard to put down. Sure, it's really frail, but it controls like a dream, and even till the very end of the game you'll be hard-pressed to find many faster than it. Plus, listen to its horn. It sounds like laser beams!
Help, it's not good.
Oh yeah, and even if you can barely tell he's in there, you get Professor Frink as a driver with you in some levels. Now I say some levels because sometimes the bonus mission characters don't appear with you in their car for some reason. I'm not sure why this happens, but when you get Frink, you get some of the most fun dialogue on the road while controlling one of the coolest cars ever.
I'm so happy you followed with the dialing, the choosing, and the selection of the Frink.
Number 6. World War II Vehicle. Now this should come as no surprise, as I've already talked about how much fun I think driving with Abe Simpson is.
Alright, I'll work the pedals and you steer.
It isn't the best car to use in this game by a long shot, but as with the others, it's a sentimental favorite. When you get it in level 2, you can easily make the argument that it's the best car you can drive statistically up to that point. It's tough, but not too slow, which you'll see is kind of a theme on this list.
Whoa! That adrenaline made me feel alive again!
Now I'm not including the modified World War II vehicle from the last mission because I wish you could use it on its own at some point, maybe as a 100% bonus. It would still keep its special aura it has about it, but also it can really spiral out of control at times, so I'm not sure it would even make the list.
Oh, did I do something wrong?
But hey, it's really fun to use a literal machine of war as a vehicle, and it sure does handle like one. Nothing but good times and good memories with this one.
Back in my day, we called sandwiches Flat Freddy, and they cost 4 playing cards a bite.
Number 5. Hearse. Yes, if you've seen my Let's Play, you know the Hearse has had to make this list somehow. Objectively, it's hard to argue that there's a better all-around vehicle than this one in the entire game. Its stats are nearly maxed out in every aspect. It's the ultimate fast, well-handling, tough vehicle of destruction that is built for nearly every mission. If you saved up your coins, I would instantly buy it in level 7 when you get the chance. You really won't find anything better. Even in the bonus game mode, the Hearse is one of 2 vehicles that's given 4 stars. I mean, think about it. Only one other car is near equal to it, and in my opinion, the Chase sedan is clearly inferior. I mean, shit, they use Hearses to take the place of police cars as the hit and run vehicles in level 7, not Chase sedans. That's right, the most well-rounded cars in the game are what are after you if you get a hit and run, giving them more of an ability to destroy you a lot easier. Sure, that can make them a pain to deal with, but even more sweeter when you get to control it yourself. I love riding in a Hearse. Wait, that might have come out wrong. Whatever. Next car. Number 4. Farini Red. Now, it was a toss-up for me between this and Snake's Little Bandit to put on this list, but ultimately I chose the Farini for several reasons. 1. Snake's car is annoying to race against. 2. You're forced to use Snake's car in one of my least favorite missions. And 3. The Farini is probably one of the best handling cars, easily the best one you get as a character's starting vehicle, being Bart's in level 6.
No way, little dude.
Now this car is a special distinction by being used in the last mission of level 5, directly leading into using it in level 6. This way, you get a better understanding of how this car is going to control, and you're more ready to use it in the next level when you get there. It's fast and it handles really well, plus it's the Simpsons equivalent to a Ferrari.
All for Bart!
Not quite Bart, because it has an annoying cousin in the form of the Farini Black in level 7. It is also referred to as the alien car, but it is used in several missions by the aliens in order to thwart your attempts to defeat them. It is hands down the most annoying antagonist vehicle in the game, which makes me feel better about having this cool red one, because something with the ability to be so annoying can also make it super cool.
Oh, this is too cool for school.
Number 3. Open Wheel Race Car. Easily the best handling car in this game. It's maxed out in everything except toughness. While I normally prefer my cars to be on the tough side, I simply can't resist using this bad boy. It's a special prize you get after beating all the street races in level 7, which I consider to be the toughest in the game. I mean, come on, it's a literal Formula 1 style race car, how could you not love it? It's without a doubt the ultimate racing vehicle and really gives you that new game plus feeling when you go back through all the street races now using this amazing car. It's the perfect reward for suffering through all those brutal races throughout the entire game if you've done them all up to this point. The speed you can reach with it is unparalleled and it won't blow up right away like the Speed Rocket, so number 3 it is.
Ooh, the vibration tickling my feet.
Number 2. Canyonero.
Can you name the truck with 4-wheel drive? Smells like a steak and seats 35. Canyonero. Canyonero.
Alright, before I completely break into song, let me tell you why the Canyonero is my favorite starter car in the game. It's unique in that it's the only car you start with that focuses on toughness rather than simply speed and handling. When you go off on a ramp, you can feel like the Canyonero is buckling and bracing for impact. When you ram into a wall at super speed, the car sometimes even bounces. You can go pretty fast in this thing, and that makes it even more fun to come barreling around a corner. And when you do that, oh man, you can really feel it.
Everyone better stay out of my way!
I think it's easily the most iconic Simpsons car in the entire game, and from the instant you get to preview it in level 1, you cannot wait to get your hands on it. The fact that it's Marge's car not only makes sense for her character, but it really makes you feel like you're really immersed in the Simpsons world. It's fast, it can cause destruction, it's the best starter car in the game. What else can you say about the Canyonero? Well, actually...
Well, it goes real slow with the hammer down. It's the country fried truck endorsed by Clown. Canyonero. Whoa. Yeah! Canyonero. Hey, hey!
Federal Highway Commission has ruled the Canyonero unsafe for highway or city driving. Now, before we talk about my favorite vehicle in the game, I think
12 yards long and 2 lanes wide. 65 tons of American pride. Canyonero. Canyonero. Top of the line in utility sports. Unexplained fires are a matter for the courts. Canyonero. Canyonero. Yeah! She blinds everybody with super high beams. She's a squirrel squasher, deer smacking driving machine. Canyonero. Yeah! Canyonero. Yeah!
okay, for real this time, it's time for some honorable mentions. The Honor Roller is the first starter car for Bart, and I honestly grew attached to it because of how well it handles. I just think the Farini Red not only handles just as well, if not better, but it's a lot faster too. Still, when I think of Bart's signature car, it'll probably be this one.
You're all mine.
The Elect Taurus is the car you get from beating all the street races in level 1. Once you get it, it becomes clear that this is easily the best car to use in level 1, and you're not really going to want to switch to anything else once it's in your possession. It gets outclassed very easily after you complete the first level, but it'll always have a special place in my heart for giving me that little extra push I needed to beat level 1 oh so long ago.
I am too smart. I am too smart. S-M-R-T. I mean, S-M-A-R-T.
Okay, not for another cop-out. Ha, get it? But the police car is a fantastic vehicle to use, and you gain access to it decently early. It stacks up to pretty much any car in the game in speed and toughness. It doesn't excel in any of those areas as other cars do, and you unfortunately don't get Chief Wiggum as a driver. But still, in these GTA-type games, the police cars are always some of the best cars, so I had to include this in some way.
Ow! Sat on my gun.
And my number 1 favorite vehicle in the Simpsons Hit and Run is... Say it with me, folks. The car built for Homer. Obviously, it was going to be this one, and yes, while it objectively isn't the best car in the game, it is my opinion that it comes pretty darn close. Sure, you could say that the Chase Sedan and the Hearse combine all the best stats together better for a tough, fast car that handles well, but I disagree. In fact, I think the car built for Homer being a tad bit slower allows for much better control and handling. Once I get this car, I really can't stop using it, and that's evident in my Let's Play of the game where I used it even after level 5 when you buy it.
Do you have an oversized vehicle that I might be borrowing?
Borrowing? No. Selling to you at an insanely high price? Yes.
It is also a perfect representation of a car originally featured on The Simpsons. One of the more iconic early Simpsons episodes at that, featuring Homer's brother Herb. It's great that we get to control one of the most famous vehicles from that show, and it turns out to be one of the most fun cars to use in the entire game. It really checks all the boxes of what a great vehicle in this game should be. It references the show in a meaningful way, it's fast and also tough, making it extremely versatile to use in many of the game's missions. It handles like a dream, and it easily has the best horn in the entire game by a mile. If you watched my Let's Play, you know that this had to be number 1. To me, there's no car I have fun driving more than the car built for Homer, and that's why it's my favorite vehicle in the Simpsons Hit and Run. Alright guys, well that was my list of my top 10 favorite vehicles in the Simpsons Hit and Run. You know, after all this time I've wanted to cover this game, I'm finally glad that I was able to perfectly sum up exactly what I think about this game and its many aspects. So, in the next top video, we're gonna have something completely different. Not covering a game, but covering one of my favorite things of all time. One of my favorite, absolute favorite things, just in general, of all time. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like content like this, please subscribe and hit the bell as well, and tell me what you think in the comments below about what your favorite vehicles are, and what you think about my list. I'd love to hear your opinions, so please let me know. And also leave a like, because it will help the YouTube gods. It will help with the algorithm, alright? So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and peace.
Aside from that, though, I consider this a particularly... Aside from that, though, I consider this a particularly... Aside from that, though, I consider this a particular... Aside from that, though, I consider this a Aside from that, though, I consider this a particular... Fuck, I can't say that word. Aside from that, though, I consider this a particularly special mission because it's one of the only missions in the game that is meant to be done entirely on foot. Got it. Sure, that might not be your cup of tea, but I really like a lot of the areas in this game that can really only be accessed on foot. And aside from maybe at the end of some missions or searching for collectibles, you don't need to leave your car and walk around for anything. This is one of the very few missions to change things up, and I'm here